Well, this is Steve Ridgel, and tomorrow my little girl Julie turns 45. And sometimes on these videos, I like to share with you some life lessons I've learned by watching my family members. And so I want to share with you today 4 things I've learned from watching my daughter Julie. The first thing I've learned from watching her is, sometimes life is hard. We Christians sometimes think that because we're Christians, everything in our life will be wonderful. But I've watched my daughter go through some pretty scary health things and things sometimes we couldn't even diagnose. I've seen her go through some rocky times in her personal life that just things weren't like she wanted them to be. And boy, she ended up being a single mom, not her choice, not what she wanted, but she is. I want you all to know sometimes life's hard. It's hard for everybody sometimes, and I think it's pretty naive to think you won't ever have any hard times. So be prepared for those. And kind of number 2 is tied to that. Life isn't always what you thought it would be. Our Julie grew up with a real clear vision of what life would turn out like, and it didn't. Not always her fault that it didn't turn out like she thought it would. But one thing I've learned from watching her, when your life doesn't turn out like you want it to, you better figure out how to adjust and keep on moving with life, because the truth is no one's life turns out just like you thought it would. There are always twists and turns and bumps and bruises, sometimes by our choices, sometimes by the choices of others that we can't control. And so a couple of things I've learned watching her is life's hard and it doesn't always turn out like you want it to. But I've also learned to appreciate her favorite Bible verse. It's Philippians 4:6. You know the one. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything with prayer and petition, make your requests be made known to God. She's had to learn the hard way. You better depend on God. Try not to be anxious. I love it that she has identified what's the struggle, because when life's hard and not like you thought it'd be, when you're a single mom raising teenagers, sometimes you're anxious, and you give that to God. And one last thing I've learned that I'd tell everybody, I love it when you make your job about people and not work. Now, she's a nurse, but she spends a lot of time talking to people that are stressed and concerned, and because of the nature of the kind of nurse she is, she works in an area where sometimes people get bad news. And she has to console mates and parents and kids, and she does that with grace and dignity. She sometimes prays with people. I don't know if they can sense she's a Christian or they're just desperate. But I love people that do that. So to my Julie, thanks for teaching a lot of us lessons. Thanks for reminding us that sometimes life's hard. Sometimes it doesn't turn out like you want it to. So you give it to the Lord. And you keep going out to treat your job as an extension of your ministry. So this is Steve Ridgel being thankful. I've got a daughter who still teaches me things about life.